This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock.
Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today in the arena we will continue in our evil ways with Jeskai Lukka playing for Mythic. So I've got a bit of Diamond 2 and Diamond 1 to go to have another month of Mythic. And if you're going to get Mythic, you should play the best deck. Now, before you just turn this off, there's also another practical reason to do this video. The tournament series was recently announced. It has some special name, I don't remember it, but there's going to be an arena tournament, and day 1 is going to be best of 1, day 2 is going to be best of 3. There is a cash money prize, $2,000 you can earn if you absolutely smash it. So all of a sudden people are asking, what's the best deck for best of 1? Now, Jeskai Lukka is by far and away the absolute best deck in best of 3, and you probably already know everything there is to know about this deck. If you need a quick primer, Lukka Coppercoat Outcast -2s to exile a creature you control and reveal cards until you reveal a creature with a higher casting cost and put it onto the battlefield. So if you play only one creature in your deck, Agent of Treachery, and a bunch of ways to make tokens like Castle Ardenvale, Omen of the Sun, Elspeth, Sun's Nemesis, and Birth of Meletis, you can turn a token into an Agent of Treachery. And since Lukka is a -2 ability, you still have the loyalty to do it again the following turn. So it's basically spamming Agent of Treachery. But this deck, as it was constructed for best of 3 play, wasn't really doing it on best of 1 ladder. In fact, the aggressive decks of the format were very hard for the deck to deal with in a traditional sense, and they go too wide, too fast for getting an agent on turn 5 to always matter. So I actually posited that this deck was not the best deck in best of 1, that it was a tier 2 deck. But I feel that there's a build that can definitely be a tier 1 deck, and this might not be complete, but it feels close. I'm iffy about Elspeth Sun's Nemesis as a 4 of, I think maybe 3 or 2 with an extra spot or 2 open, but I am 100% sure on Deafening Clarion. This card against the Lurrus decks and the mono red decks is so absolutely essential, and I like the number with 2 Shatter the Sky as a catch-all against the Dream Trawler decks and 4 Clarions against all the Lurrus decks running around. This deck is not amazing against a turn 1 Flourishing Fox, especially on the draw. The cycling deck is still very popular, so that matchup is really hard. I found that better than throwing in narrow cards like Glass Casket to contain it, I decided I was going to produce a ton of tokens to chump block it as much as necessary. So we have 4 Omen of the Sun and 4 Elspeth Sun's Nemesis. After going up to 4 Elspeth Sun's Nemesis, we have a pretty massive amount of Planeswalkers. We're looking at 16 Planeswalkers, and I get to run my favorite land that doesn't usually make the cut, in Interplanar Beacon. Interplanar Beacon's 1 life whenever you play a Planeswalker adds up and matters a ton against the Cat Oven decks that are still very popular in best of 1 and are trying to nickel and dime you out despite your Agent of Treachery shenanigans. So yeah, adding Beacon and Elspeth Sun's Nemesis changes a lot of the dynamics. You have access to a ton more life gain than you did before against Cycling and Rakdos and Orzhov Sacrifice. So I think that's a big deal. I think that's the adjustment that best of 1 needs. And otherwise, this endgame is pretty busted. Most of the time, the game just ends on turn 5, which is unusual for a control deck. So what did we cut from the deck, you might be wondering, if you look up and down the list. We did trim on Elspeth Conquers Death. There are some decks where it just has no targets. Lurrus is, in my experience, the most popular companion in best of 1, and Shatter the Sky got trimmed back to make room for the Clarion, but the other missing card is Shark Typhoon. Shark Typhoon is a wonderful card, but unfortunately, it's not a great return on mana, and it's much better in these slower, grindier face-offs where you have a Teferi, I have a Narset, and we're trying to play around how to attack each other's Planeswalkers. And it's in a fast matchup, it's just a low return on investment. It's 4 mana gives you 1 2/2 token. With Elspeth Sun's Nemesis, 4 mana gives you 2 1/1 tokens. It has more abilities, such as the -5. It has an escape ability to come back later, and it triggers the Interplanar Beacon. So For me, I'm going with Elspeth Sun's Nemesis over Shark Typhoon, but for best of one. Shark Typhoon's an amazing card. Don't cut it from your best of 3 list. And that is enough talking for me. A lot of you probably already are typing your angry comment, but hey, sometimes we have to get evil, play the good decks, and get that mythic. So if you want to get mythic, it is a labor of love, to say the least. You should either truly love the deck you play, and if it's a brew, you must truly, truly love the deck you play, or you probably have to play a good deck. All right, let's dive in. Let the nonsense begin. Well, on the play with Teferi, no better place to be. We're up against Lurrus, which might be a difficult matchup. They can get out ahead of us, and we don't have a Clarion. Teferi might not be great against Lurrus. Oh, I see. Cycling. Well, now it's really hard to tell if our hand is good, as cycling can be quite the pain, but they did not have a fox, so I take it back. They do have a fox. Let's go ahead and start the life gain from the bacon and set the fox back.
Sorry I'm late. Let's try this.
This deck attacks on an axis that's difficult to compete with for the Jeskai Lukka deck. Stealing their lands often doesn't matter very much. Stealing their creatures often doesn't matter very much. Fires of Invention off the top. Our hand is particularly nice, though, so far. Let's play Fires. Let's play Elspeth. Gain a whole bunch of life. Creates plenty of blockers for the fox.
I can escape my past no more than I can escape my shadow. I am proud of my comrades.
This is another matchup, too, where the life gain from the beacon can help a lot. Probably not when the opponent casts 2 or 3 giant flares, but it at least helps you survive the first one to try to get set up. If we draw Lukka off the top, we're going to be fine. Here comes Fox going face. Easy block. The opponent with a cycle right there. Do they have another creature? Something to play to put pressure on us? It looks like they might fight the token. It's a very surprising play since we can make more. And they get the cycles out of the way. They don't want to hold priority. So we're in an interesting turn. We could play the Teferi and try to draw into the Lukka, which I think is a good play. Now, if we want, we can thin the deck first, which I think is also a good play. It would be a pretty amazing top deck.
Let's slow this down.
Let's set back the fox.
I've got time.
Heroes, rally to me.
So, we could Yorion and reset all of this and then still Lukka, but then we don't Yorion the agent. So I think we'll just wait until next turn. Not that it should matter from here.
If the copper coats won't listen.
This hand is alright. Bertha Mellitus leading into Clarion might be great against aggro. Our opponent doesn't have a companion, and they have shark sleeves. Probably means they're going to play some form of red aggro. Alright, we drew a blue off the top. We could fetch a blue now, though. And if we do that, we might cast Narset on turn 3, so sounds fine. Our opponent with Robber of the Rich. Just in case they knock the last island out of our deck with the Robber by some terrible chance, let's fetch now. They exile a Lukka. Okay. Mono red is one of the decks that can get under the deck, meaning they play things that are too small and get a bunch of damage in before we get to do our powerful effects. It's one of the main reasons we run Deafening Clarion, because it can clean up the small creatures that mono red plays, giving us time to do the thing. Interplanar Beacon is also particularly awesome in this matchup, if we can find it. These cards being exiled will probably not be cast, because we plan to use a Clarion to sweep up these robbers. And we draw another Lukka anyway. Alright, we do need red mana to cast Clarion. Unfortunately, that means we have to go down a little bit lower on life. 3 damage to the creatures. Now they are dead. And there was much rejoicing. Rimrock Knight is here. The 3/1 side of that combat trick equation. Our opponent will shock our face to drop us to 8 and light the stage. I would have... So if you're ever in that spot, you may want to light the stage before you commit to playing the Rimrock Knight. It looks like it's going to work out fine for our opponent this time. Alright, let's play the Narset and try to dig up a helpful spell.
There are so many must keep an open mind.
What do we want? Another Narset doesn't sound very good. I think we want Omen of the Sun to dig for possibly a Clarion in the future, depending how this next turn goes. It looks like the opponent's going to play out their hand. We're going to play Lukka, get an agent, steal their bird probably. Now, does the opponent attack my face or the Narset is a real question. And they're going face, it looks like. Attacking the Narset would keep it from triggering. Now, I have a block here on the Rimrock Knight, so the Rimrock Knight attacking this is mostly pointless. Can't block though, so you may as well try. Alright, we draw Beacon off the top. That is a great draw here. Let's see what Narset can find before we commit.
And prepare.
An Omen that makes tokens and gains life is probably the best thing here. Here comes Lukka. Lukka will transform the wall into an Agent of Treachery. The Agent of Treachery will take... We could take the Phoenix, because we can't block it, and it can account for a lot of damage. We could also take one of these. Either way, the opponent might be able to play Embercleave next turn if they draw it, which is scary. But I think it's the bird. It also forces them to consider attacking Lukka, or else I just have another one next turn. But the opponent does not attack Lukka, they attack face. So Torbrand means it deals an extra 3, so we're going very low on life. Better block here. It's scary. So I believe what we're going to want to do is play Narset and Omen of the Sun, because that gains the most life. And right now, all we want is to not get burnt out. So, Phoenix of Ash can attack. We'll turn it into an Agent of Treachery. I'd rather exile their Phoenix of Ash. This way it can't come back. Oh no. Unbelievable. The Robbers of the Rich exiled it. What a disaster. Can we recover? That Torbrand isn't going anywhere. Alright. Let's see what happens if we play Narset. Can we find something to interfere with this Torbrand?
Surrender now. I understand. I have just the
Deafening Clarion and Teferi Time Raveler. If we take the Time Raveler, we can gain an extra life point here. And bounce the Torbrand. The Torbrand comes down though. Then this does another damage and another 6, so it's not good enough. Wow. It's really close though. I think we have to say go and block the creatures with the Omen of the Sun. If the opponent has a burn spell, something to go directly to face, the game is over. Annex Hardened in the Forge is a high quality one. but it won't beat us on its own. I think I want to play my Omen now. The opponent may not attack with the Spitter. I mean, it's face-up information, but I want to discourage it. I want to discourage the trigger. Maybe, just maybe, they'll hold it back. No, they will not. They get an extra creature from Annex Hardened in the Forge. And they reveal another Torbrand and a Fervent Champion. Oh no. This is terrifying. We can play Agent of Treachery and steal something. But we don't have another agent available. We can try to find Shatter the Sky with Narset, which sounds probably the most appealing. And we do! Because here's what we can do. We can play the Teferi, gain a life. Bounce the Annex. So that now they don't get the bonus tokens. And Shatter the Sky. Our Lukka is useless. Plussing him to exile cards won't find us anything anymore. So, Lukka, you get to hang out. The opponent commits the Torbrand, but we can steal it with the agent. And I think that's the play. Slow and steady. Let's make sure the center's tapped. Now we want more Planeswalkers. Elspeth would be a wonderful draw to just gain 5 life. It's so close. Another Annex. Another light up the stage. I mean, it's the same Annex. And now our opponent has the hasty 1-drops. So this turn seems pretty clear to be a Yorion turn. Blinking Omen, blinking Agent. Resetting our Planeswalkers, and the opponent sees it. So the first thing that we would want to do, if you want to play out that turn, and I'm just waiting for the view battlefield. There it is. You click once to see view battlefield. You click again to leave. So what we would do is make sure that we left plenty of mana open for Yorion. Play Omen first. See if we can find Elspeth, Sun's Nemesis. And if failing that, like, I think playing Elspeth to gain the life is the play. But failing that, I think we play Yorion, blink everything. It gets disgusting. All right, on the play with a Clarion or a Teferi is as good as it gets, I think. As far as sequencing lands, as long as you have an untapped source of white on turn 2 for Birth or Omen, untapped source of blue, you're probably good. Wildwood Tracker, sorry. Mono green, most likely. The place where that card sees the most play. Not one you see every day, that's for sure. An Interplanar Beacon would be an awesome find. Lukka would also be a good find. It's Temple of Abandon, some kind of a red-green deck. And the opponent, you know, they've got a good rank. They are also competing for Mythic, so this will be a deck to keep an eye on. What is it doing? How is it working? Why does it work? So, do we keep land? I think we'd be greedy. I think we can be greedy and bottom these lands. I think we'll find more. There's the Lukka. Alright, now I'm getting nervous. So we could play the tap land here to make sure that we have Fires Teferi next turn. And I think that's pretty good. We don't take pain. We could also play Elspeth next turn if we want to. But this way we make absolute sure that Fires of Invention will be on time. Our opponent plays Hasty Gruul Spellbreaker. Alright, so we have a few options. We could avoid shocking and not play Fires or just play Clarion. But if we play Fires this turn, the next turn we have Elspeth and Lukka the same turn, which is an Agent of Treachery. So it's worth the shock, I think. And we'll see if the opponent can punish me for it. 10 life isn't very much. And does our opponent have Questing Beast? The odds seem good that they do. And that will reduce us to 6. But we can play Elspeth and we can have a token, an agent, and their Questing Beast, which is a lot of blockers. No, it's Robber of the Rich and Gallia. It's like a Questing Beast, but it's actually a little better. A little better because agent taking it isn't nearly as devastating. Alright, I believe it's going to be Elspeth and Lukka. We could play Yorion instead, which can blink the first... No, that doesn't work, right? We'd need another Lukka. Alright, let's play you. I would love to minus you for life right now, but instead I've got to go with some tokens. Alright, let's grab... Gallia's legendary, so let's grab the Robber. That way if the opponent has another Gallia in hand, they can't team them up. It still might be very close. If we get to untap with our Elspeth and gain life, though... Oh, Questing Beast, there it is! That is a strong attack. And who dies? It's Lukka. Alright, so Elspeth can minus to gain life. We can bounce the Questing Beast. We can play the Yorion, blinking our Agent of Treachery. And if we're going to play Yorion, we don't want to give up our Omen, since we already have a good series of plays for the turn. We could also not gain life and keep our Elspeth, but I don't think that's very good. So first things first. Well, I guess we want a free spell into Fairy, right? Let's do this. Gain 5.
I miss my mentor's guidance.
Alright, we're going to have untapped land. How do I use it? I'm going to steal the Questing Beast. So what do I want to bounce with the Teferi? Guess we'll bounce the Gallia. That's a good one. So I still don't have good uses for my untapped mana. But it doesn't matter as the opponent sees that we're going to steal their Questing Beast and decides that the writing is on the wall. Well, we have Omen and Clarion and the mana to do it. So we hang on to this, plus the Narsets. We're up against Luris. Interplanar Beacon can be very important here. And it looks like it's cycling, but they don't have turn 1 Fox, which is a big deal. Very happy to see that. No, not turn 2 Fox is just as bad if you're on the draw. No, not like this. Not like this. All right. What do we need? Teferi to bounce it, reset it, and then try to kill it again? I suppose. Shatter the Sky will do. I thought we were going to get there when they didn't have the Fox on 1, but man did they get me on turn 2. If we had one more turn, the Clarion might have been good enough. Teferi. Teferi. Actually, do we want all of this? That life gain is going to be very important. All right. So they can play the Fox if they play a land and cycle and immediately have a 4/4 again. So we're going to need the 1/1 blockers.
stand by and watch. Here we go.
Yep, being on the draw is hard, my friends. It's a hard knock life on the draw. Ooh, they cycle first? Interesting. They cycle the Fox. Okay, they're going for flare mode. They're just going for flare mode. They don't think we can beat it. So, what we need to do...
Might be a bad idea.
What do they have? They have up to 7. They can be at 8 next turn. That's not quite enough. Let's play the Elspeth. A little bit of heal. And let's make the tokens.
Cannot escape my wrath.
We'll gain life next
I am
turn.
proud of my comrades.
We can actually gain 6 life if we use the Clarion for life gain. But we can gain even more than that if we play the Yorion. Yep, they're just... Oh, they play the Stinger. Okay. They changed their tune. Another Elspeth. Nice. So, plus here.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
What is the right play? I really do want the Yorion on the field so I can use Clarion to give everything lifelink. If that's the play... But the Stinger's going to do so much damage, I should just remove it. So if I remove it and then make 2 more tokens, that's not bad. Or I can just -3 for 5 life. I think if we're playing Yorion next turn, we're going to want to blink the Elspeth. So we'll go attack. Clarion. The opponent doesn't have another cycler. Interesting. Create the humans.
Together we can exact justice.
Play the tap land. Alright. Maybe it was too ambitious there to minus the Elspeth. Maybe I was supposed to gain life. Alright. Here comes Luris. And the Fox returns. Fairy returns. Ugh. This is very tough. First things first. Go away.
Let's try this.
Make the opponent commit mana to that again. Do I know the bottom of my deck? Nope. Go get an island. I think that that's what will be the most helpful here. Play a Narset. Opponent's not in a place where they can double flare me yet. Birth. Not perfect. Alright, play the Teferi, gain another life.
I am not going to
Linky Foxy.
trust me. I have a plan.
I could kill off my Elspeth, but I think that's not the play. Since I might blink it with Yorion. The Narset is a pain, and whoa, they Zenith Flare the Narset. That's a big win for us.
Have much to learn.
I think that flare was just supposed to go face. Maybe they don't have as many flares as I thought they did. Alright. It's going to be a Yorion turn, I'm pretty sure. I want that on the field. We have so many births now. And let's birth the Meletus. Actually, you know what? I want the Narset. The last one ate a frickin' flare. Let's do it. By all means, let's do it.
There are so many misthone your prowess.
Clarion can gain a lot of life. Fires of Invention doesn't speak to me right this minute. All right, keep pulling the land out. Attack with the creatures. See if the opponent flares the other Narset now. What are we up to? 13? They can only... I mean, they can cycle just to throw them in the yard. If they do enough of that, am I dead? Okay, they play Luris. And they play a Rescuer from the yard, and they know about the Clarion. What are they doing? They've tilted. They've tilted. We got the tilt win. One more to Mythic. So if they had another flare. And they had enough cyclers. It's hard to tell. I'm at 18, right? And their flare is 12. And they played these two. One of these they played from the graveyard, so it was there, 13. So they could have cycled this, 14. Cycle this, something else, 15. I guess it doesn't quite get there. It's not quite there. They would have had to have, like, 2 more cyclers in hand to flare me out that turn. On the draw. God, on the draw. This is a rough hand. Let's send it away. Too many things can go wrong. Better, probably. What are we getting rid of? I think it's the Omen of the Sun. Because then we're well covered against every matchup with a decent curve. And Elspeth Conquers Death could be really important. We don't know. And we have a token for Lukka if we draw into that. And, oh, of course. There's only one end boss. And it's mono red. This Clarion's going to have to be amazing. We can't beat an Annex Hardened in the Forge, and we also can't beat a Steamkin that gets up to 4 next turn. Life is hard. We need a few things to go very, very right. Our hand turning out to be land so far. I suppose I should have put a land back. Keeping an Omen of the Sun might be a huge help. They have the land. Okay, they have, that's a 1-drop. They have another. No, they don't. They're all in. They're all in. Oh yeah. We could draw another set, but I guess we couldn't cast that anyway. Well, we might want to play the Triome next turn. All right, let's go. The follow-up is a straight-up Bone Crusher Giant. So I don't have double blue. If I cycle this Triome, I think that might be a big mistake. So I'm not going to... that's rough. That's pretty rough. Now is not the time to flood. Alright. So we could throw down in front of the Giant. I think we just block the Robber, since we plan to exile the Giant next turn. We draw fires. Is that good? I guess the mana saving can help me make 1/1s every turn. That could be very important. Elspeth Conquers Death. No creature in the graveyard. The end boss had to be mono red. Like, it couldn't be any other way. It just couldn't. All right, thank you for taking that land away from me. I definitely didn't want it. Elspeth. So strong. All right, I'm confident I want to play a Yori in this turn. Save the Elspeth Conquers Death since there's nothing in the graveyard.
Quest is not over until peace has blessed.
I think we just gain 5. Take that, mono red. Caca. There's nothing to exile here with the Elspeth Conquers Death, but there's nothing in the graveyard. And I want another chance to get something into the graveyard first.
Neither monsters nor gods will stand in my way.
No Embercleave. Don't Embercleave. Anything but an Embercleave. Don't you do it. Two attacks. will there be attacks? We're on even hand size. This robber doesn't pull anything. All right. I think they thought they were going to try to pull a card from me, but they had too many cards in their hand. And here we go. Another season, another mythic. Six days. Classy. 6 days to spare. And we are back for the post-games chat. And yeah, there's probably about 1 billion comments right now telling me that my face should be over there. Over there. Yep, I left the intro screen on for all those games. And even though I sound checked every single file as I played them, I didn't notice. Should I delete? If this were any other video, I would normally delete the footage and start over because I don't like uploading subpar content. And I know that having my face on the wrong side of the screen messed with your ability to see the stack and maybe tilted some of you to the extreme. I do apologize for that. It wasn't intentional to get your rage and comments and stir you up. I wouldn't do that much. It was not intentional today. It was an accident. And normally I would just start over and do it again. But you can only hit Mythic on YouTube 1 time per season. So unfortunately, it's not like a Jank Week video. There is no reshoot. So I'm sorry. But hey, the deck performed the way I really hoped that it would. It is a very good deck and possibly broken. We've seen some 60% win rate stuff going around in tournaments. The deck is starting to be played in Historic a lot, which, don't touch Historic. That place is kind of fun. So yeah, will something have to be done about it? Maybe. The new cards can't come fast enough, and they better have something that keeps an Agent of Treachery from absolutely wrecking the game. And really, it's still this card, right? Like, this deck, you'd be able to interact with it and mess with its combo if it weren't for this silly card protecting your combo turns pretty much anytime you need it. What a silly card. Anyway, you probably don't need me saying more about this, so I'm just going to say this. Please check out my Twitch stream, which is Monday through Thursday, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm recording this on Memorial Day, so happy red, white, and blue, my other hidden motive for playing Jeskai Lukka, getting mythic with the red, white, and blue on the Memorial Day holiday here in the United States. So happy Memorial Day to all of you. It's over by now, but I hope you had a really good time. And as always, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.